down on the ground is getting this feed from the Columbia, and they ask the astronauts in the shuttle, what can they see? What is it they can see?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us.
It is like a brilliant white bar. It looks like a neon sign, and it's 12 miles long. Now, what this does is give you a sort of cosmic ruler by which you can get an idea and an estimate of the diameter of the UFOs that are flitting around down there. Now, when you see them go behind the tether, that means that you can use that tether like a ruler to measure their diameter. And those things that are down there going behind the tether are between 2 and 3 nautical miles in diameter.
Is it possible for me to understand, I mean in layman's terms, the metaphysics of all that we've been discussing?
Yes, it is. The question is whether you have the patience for it and the interest in it. It can be helpful to you in expanding your understanding of yourself, your multidimensional universe, and even God. But it could feel a bit like a postgraduate class here for a moment.
Go, I'm all ears.
Simply consider this. Life everywhere is composed of far more space than matter. This is easily observable with either a microscope or a telescope. Not surprisingly, the universe and a grain of sand look exactly the same, depending on the degree of the sand's magnification. The macrocosm and the microcosm are essentially identical. Now, when pure energy, the primal expression of life that we will call the essential essence, coagulates, it transforms into what would be called, in human terms, matter. Because these coagulations are vibrating or vacillating at a significant speed, the particles constantly move. They not only vibrate or rotate in place, they also move through space propelled by the energy of their spin, not unlike a top moving across a table as it spins. These countless particles can move so fast in relative terms that they appear to be neither here nor there, but everywhere at once, thus creating the illusion of solidity, or what you would call that which is physical. You can watch the blades of a fan or the spokes of a bicycle wheel producing exactly the same illusion, the illusion of solidity.
I got it. So you're saying that by simply reducing the vibratory frequency or speed of their essential essence, highly evolved beings from another dimension desolidify or disembody.
That's right. All they have done is dramatically slow the spin of their energy particles, thus expanding the time it takes for those particles to get from one point to another in their vibratory pattern. You suddenly see the space between the particles, even as you would see the space between the spokes of a bicycle wheel if the power that's spinning it is turned down. By the way, take a look at the universe or any of its galaxies from a great enough distance, and all you will see is a big wheel.
Whoa.
Now, should the space between the spokes of a bicycle wheel be sufficiently enormous, as it would feel to you if you were the size of a microbe and your perspective was therefore myopic, all you would see for a very long time, until the next spoke of the wheel came by, is empty space. In effect, while you are waiting and watching for the next spoke, the solidity will appear to have disappeared. What you do not know is that it was never there to begin with. It was merely the speed of the spokes moving past your line of sight that created the illusion of solidity. When a highly evolved being dephysicalizes, the time between the Hebb's energy cycles is so long in relative terms that the space between its vacillations is, also in relative terms, enormous. And what once appeared to others as a solid physical form no longer has that appearance. The entity seems to have disappeared, as it cannot be seen in its entirety unless viewed from a huge, to you unfathomable, distance. The formula is simple. Time plus space equals appearance. If you could stand back far enough from the entire universe and the universe of universes, you would see the body of God.
So what physicists are now conjecturing about is true? There's more than one universe?
Yes, the cosmos is a multiverse, not a universe.
So to use a well-worn turn of phrase, We don't know the half of it.
To be more accurate and perhaps coin a new phrase, you don't know the 100th of it. But highly evolved beings from another dimension understand the metaphysics of existence perfectly, and therefore are clear that they neither exist nor cease to exist simply because of the frequency rate of their energetic vibration. They merely appear to be or not to be physical.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Precisely. Hebs know that they exist always and forever as vibratory individuations of the essential essence, and that all they are doing is regulating the fluctuations of their energy, altering their vacillations to become seen or not seen, visible or not visible, what you would call physical or non-physical, as it suits their purpose.
How simple. They never really disembody or embody, they simply always are. They always are both. And they fill more or less space, in a sense, expanding or contracting themselves by merely altering the speed of their energetic vibration. How simple. And God is so huge. I mean, you're so big because of your energetic vibration that you can't be seen at all. That doesn't mean that you're not there. It just means you're so expanded that the space between your energy particles makes you invisible.
Brilliant, you got it.
Whoa.
A metaphysical explanation of God.
Yippee.
You and everything are the energy particles of God. And the huge space between the giant spinning particles of the cosmos is mirrored in the huge space in relative terms between the particles of which you are comprised. You do understand, yes? That if you look at your own body underneath enormous magnification, what you will see is exactly what you see when you look up at the night sky. You would see that both you and the cosmos are 99% space. Do you imagine the similarity to be a coincidence? If you took the air out of every person on Earth and left only their energy particles, the entire human race would fit into a child's marble.
What?
It's true.
This is mind-boggling.
And very helpful to understand. Most humans think of themselves as what they see and experience when their energy particles are moving at top speed. You think you are a body rather than a soul creating a body through a simple metaphysical manipulation. When a person's energy particles are moving at top speed, you say that person is living. And when their energy is moving at a very slow speed, you say they have died. Yet death does not exist. You never cease to be, you simply change form. Actually, when you die, you become more expansive.
So I never dephysicalize. I'm always a conglomeration of energy particles, and I never cease to be that. That's what you mean when you say that death does not exist. Whether I'm physical or metaphysical is simply a matter of how expanded is the time that it takes for the particles I am to spin, of how far apart on the space-time continuum my particles are. And this is simply a function of the speed at which they rotate and thus move around each other.
You see? You asked if you could understand in layman's terms all of this, and I said yes, and you have.
But my whole body continues to exist in physicality when the soul departs. It's either buried or cremated or in some other way disposed of, but it doesn't just disappear. My body just doesn't go away.
No, it simply ceases to exist in its present physical form. Eventually, it dissipates.
But it seems to me that it's more integrated with the planet. In that case, my so-called dead body eventually decomposes and becomes part of the larger composition of the earth in which it's buried. Or if it was cremated, changes form instantly into the dust of which the earth and the cosmos is made, but it doesn't disintegrate.
That is correct. The body that you have does not disintegrate, it reintegrates. It eventually becomes so fully integrated with the physicality around it that it, ironically, seems to disappear. It actually has not disappeared at all, but taken on a new appearance. It now appears to be melded into or one with the stuff of which everything is made.
Ah, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Exactly. And the particles are then gathered by the soul that inhabited that body and reunited with the mind and the spirit to become, once again, the three-part self. This is the resurrection of the body, of which much has been written.
But that doesn't happen instantly as it does with Hebs. That's my point. This process takes time.
If you look at it within the framework of that illusion, yes. But looked at from another vantage point, the viewpoint of the soul when in metaphysical form, it's happening all at once. The energetic expressions that you call your body and your mind travel with the soul, indeed are parts of the soul, through all eternity. What your mind, in its limited understanding, calls body and mind are merely aspects of the soul's energy, vibrating at frequencies that cause them to be experienced and expressed in particular ways. You are a three-part being: body, mind, and spirit, and you never ever are anything less or anything else. As you move from the metaphysical to the physical and back again, you simply disintegrate and reintegrate these aspects of who you are. To help you understand how such a thing is possible, think of what you call white light. This is actually a combination of lights of different wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum. If you send white light through a dispersive prism, you will see its spectral colors, which are its constituent parts. Now think of movement into physicality as movement through a dispersive prism in ultimate reality. When the soul passes through the prism into physicality, it breaks into its constituent parts: body, mind, and spirit. When it passes back through the prism the other way, or as humans put it, when you pass away, the soul becomes one element again. That one element is you.
Chapter 28.
I find myself wanting
the ultraviolet while you watch. You see them come from out of nowhere to the point